Yo, what up, y'all? This DJ Poppy. Got the legendary Cujo Goody.
Well, you already know what it is, baby. Dirty South Swats in the house.
And today on Showtime ATL podcast, we got a special guest in the building today. Go by the name Mr. Soul.
Yeah.
That's me.
Yeah. All right, man. So we
get
gonna
into
go.
it.
What's up? So how you doing today?
I'm great today, man. It's definitely I would definitely say it's an honor to be in the room
Yeah.
with big bro Cujo and another Cleveland native.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I feel good today. Yesterday I turned 50, and it's a good way to follow up with that. So
Well, welcome to the club.
Happy
man.
birthday, man.
Welcome to the club, man.
Yeah, man. That's what's up, man. Man, I love that. So, man, listen, for the people out there, if y'all don't know, Mr. Soul is an artist, like you say, from the land 216. Hey, if you can, man, let people know, who you are. Give them a little bit of background, where you from, and go ahead, let's go.
all right, so I am Mr. Soul. I've been doing art really since I was 5 years old. That's really been my calling. That's the only thing I really focus on. I can't dance, can't dribble a basketball, I can't sing, but I've always had this thing for the visual arts. That was intensified around third, fourth grade. Hip hop culture was being born, and Beat Street came out.
Oh, man.
So Beat Street provided me with the visual of who I was. So naturally, Ramo was the visual artist of the culture,
Right.
And I instantly took to Ramo. By the time Beat Street was over, I was up the street spray painting on the wall somewhere.
Let me explain to the folks. Beat Street
Yes.
is one of the pivotal hip hop movies that ever came out. You got the Lisi Beat Street,
Yeah.
Crush Groove. What's that? Wild Pitch,
Wild Style.
Wild Style,
Style.
Yeah.
Breaking.
And breaking, the breaking series.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then there's one other classic that a lot of people don't know about is Style Wars. So Style Wars. Style Wars is the documentary. It's about hip hop, but Style Wars mostly focuses on the graffiti aspect of the culture. But
Right.
Wild Style is the cult classic where Fat Five Freddy was and Lee, one of the graffiti artists of the culture at the time, was in that.
Wow.
You said that movie called what?
Beat Street.
No, not Beat Street.
Oh,
the Style.
Style Wars
Style
is the
Wars.
documentary.
Okay.
And then Wild Style.
Yeah, I know Wild Style. Yeah,
Yeah,
I never
Wild-
heard the start.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah,
Style
I
Wars
remember
is
that
definitely
one.
something
Me
to see. Yeah. That's
Wow.
definitely something to see.
That's
Especially if you're into graffiti culture.
Yeah, I am.
Yeah,
I used to,
You got to see Style
but I was being at home, man, from the land. I used to go down there with the older dudes, man, and we used to go spray paint down, not like down by 102nd, 93rd. We used to go down there to the train, to
on
the
the red
rapid.
line. On
Yeah.
the red line.
I
That
used
was
to go under there.
Yeah. So
They used to let me tag stuff, man. And, I grew up with my uncle, and he like y'all age. So it's like, I feel like I'm y'all peer. You know what I'm saying?
that's how it really worked.
Yeah.
So for me, that's really how I got into the culture. So around 7th or 8th grade, junior high school, I'm like full-fledged in the graffiti culture. Hip hop, I'm breakdancing, spinning on my back and all this
Okay.
type of shit, right?
Uh-huh.
But graffiti is the draw. At that time, I'm on the, young kid, we on the red line going
Yeah.
from East Cleveland to downtown.
Right.
So on that red line, you see all these big pieces by a crew called Doing Everything Funky. And the leader of that crew was Sano, right? So when you're a young kid and you're into graffiti culture, you want to be connected with Sano because that was the pinnacle of graffiti culture in Cleveland. And then we had artists like Ranger and Oops and Nomad, but Sano was the one.
Hold on, Joe. This dude really tapped into that shit, man.
Oh, yeah, no,
As a
for
kid,
real.
I seen it, but I never knew. I kind of figured it was some type of cruise and shit, but I just didn't know.
See,
He really locked in.
No, see, I can kind of relate to him because I was checking him out. I was waiting to ask him about Say No. But down here in Georgia, it was a guy named Spit.
It was a guy named
Spit, yeah.
Okay.
You could see his stuff all over the place, and it was Spit. That was his name, Spit. You know what I mean? But that was just one.
Yeah.
But it was a pantheon of brothers like that visual art was their thing.
Yeah.
Ray Murray.
Ray, I was just going to
Ray
say.
Murray, Organized Noise.
Yes, sir.
Ray was.
Ray is. I never even knew.
I didn't either, man.
Like
Him and his brother named Wildcat.
Okay.
Both of those guys back in the late 80s, early 90s.
Yeah.
this guy Ray had a book full of stuff. I was like, man, how you draw that, man? Like, even, I mean, it was always fascinating to me, and not even knowing that graffiti and visual art is one of the things of hip hop.
Yeah. So for
Elements of hip hop.
So for young kids, so you have visual art, right? But for young kids that come from inner city environments, we're not exposed to visual arts, right?
Mm-hmm.
We may have like my introduction into liking art was comic books and cartoons.
I was going to ask you that too.
That's how I started. First, second grade, I'm intrigued with that.
But what like, was it a specific comic that made you want to do it, or just looking at all the different stuff?
All of them. I had a cousin, my cousin Terry at the time. He was good at drawing. So he would draw Bruce Lee, Spider-Man, Batman, and all. And, you know, my mother revealed to me that I was so adamant about drawing that I would cry because I couldn't draw like my cousin Terry. And she told me the first time she said that she recognized that I drew something that I was proud of. She said, well, she told me this later. She was like, yeah, I thought you might be a problem after you, because I was proud that I was able to do it. But all through that, up until third, fourth grade, is comic books and cartoons. Graffiti became visual arts for people, for young kids who were into hip hop culture and who was into the arts. I didn't know what a visual artist was or an illustrator. I knew who Lee was. I knew who Scene was. I knew who Scheme was. I knew who all these graffiti legends was from New York and eventually across the country. And that was my introduction to the art. And so in Cleveland, we had our graffiti hero was Sano, and we eventually made our way into his fold. Like, he took us under his wing. As freshmen, we were freshmen. He's a senior at John Marshall at this time.
Let me ask you, is Sano still around?
Sano is still around. Still my mentor. Still my big bro. And
shout out to Sano out there.
Shout out to my brother Sano. And the cool thing about it is that when I went back to Cleveland and I started to get grants to do murals, I brought him. He live in LA now, but I brought him back to Cleveland to work on at least 3 projects. So that was my way of keeping it full circle. Because to be honest with you, the artist that I am today, graphic art, graffiti art, illustration, art supply liberation, all of that came from this guy. And he took about 5, 6, 7 of us under his wing and created this thing. So it transitioned from doing everything funky to CST, which is the Cleveland Scribe Tribe. And so it's a collective of us that we just grew up together. You know, we are the foundation of young Black artists in Cleveland. I'll go to war about that. Because I know what Sano did to pave the way for people like myself.
Man, I find it interesting. You said 3rd and 4th grade.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Those are definitely some early ages, man, to even recognize detail, because I can relate to it, because in 4th grade down here at Peyton Forest Elementary School, I had a friend, his name was Ashley Woods. And when you said comic books and cartoons, our thing was comic books, right? And his thing was Marvel Universe.
That's it.
We had every superhero in Marvel that you can even think of. When I tell you, this guy in the 4th grade could draw detail. I'm talking about shadows. And I was trying my best to draw like him, but my stuff was always kind of opaque a little bit. I was trying, you know what I'm saying? But just to be in the 4th grade, bro, to see the skills that this guy had, man, and it was just amazing. And for you to confirm that 3rd and 4th grade, man, you know what I'm saying? Our people definitely, man, got that skill, man.
Well, I was locked in. Like, I didn't realize this till I was older, but I realized at the 3rd and 4th grade, I was being set up for what I was chose to do in the world. And at a very early age, man, like I said, 5 years old, I was really into the arts. That's all I've ever focused on my entire life. So you talking about 45 years of my life, I'm figuring it out to this day, still figuring out the science, mechanics, physics of pimping his artwork. All different forms: graphic design, murals, illustration, paintings, concept development. All of that is part of the visual arts. And so that's what got me here sitting in this seat right now.
Really,
man, that's what's up, man. Like, man, just me catching the rapid every Sunday after wrestling would go off. We would go down to Woodworks and stuff, man.
artists.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And I would just see this stuff, this art, man. And I used to just go back home at my grandmother Big Mom house and just be writing like bubble letters, just trying to get the graffiti,
Oh, yeah,
and couldn't
yeah.
wait till next week. Me and Big Mom catch the rapid to go see.
that. Yeah.
And I just kept trying to like mimic that stuff, man.
You know what's so deep is that for us at that time, like we had the Cleveland Museum of Art, but
Yeah.
black kids
Yeah.
wouldn't even really go on there unless it was a field trip.
I
Museum?
went to it. I went to it.
Right.
Like, if you just got an open mind, you like art, you'll like it, but it wasn't what we like.
And culturally,
Yeah.
so for us, our art gallery was the Red Line, going to see these graffiti.
Exactly. Yep.
Because we were already listening to the music.
Yep.
We were already familiar with Fab Five Freddy and these
Mhm.
cultural icons in the 80s.
Right.
Like, you know, the tours had started coming through in the mid 80s, the
Yeah.
Fresh Fest, Rap Fest tours and all that type of stuff. And so as a visual artist, as hip hop is being born, I stayed locked into the visual arts aspect. So I
Yeah.
know the graffiti artists. I know, you know, certain things about that aspect of the culture. And that's what, like, even like in my artwork today, the underlying structure of it is rooted in graffitiism. You know what I'm saying? It's the freeness, the rebelliousness.
Yeah.
I can take the letter A and I can do whatever I want with it.
Right.
You know, it's like in music, like you don't have to follow music. You
Yeah.
can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
You can make a beat that's off beat, that's on beat.
Yeah. Right.
You know,
Right.
You know what, man? I've often wondered, like down here in Atlanta, you go down 75 South, right?
Mhm.
And you see some of the artwork on some of these bridges. I'm like, man,
Yeah.
how in the hell
Hell yeah. How they
do
get
they
up
do
there?
this,
Yes.
man? I'm under the cloak of darkness. I mean, how
Yeah.
y'all doing? You can't be doing it in the lighttime.
Let me tell you this, bro. Like me and my mother BJ from Patchwork, we talked about, because BJ used to be a graffiti artist growing up in Chicago. And we talked about seeing all this new stuff that's happening. We was like, man, we wouldn't be able to be down because I'm not scaling from the top of a
Right.
40-foot building to put my name up. Bro. I don't want it that bad.
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, but at the same time, I love it
Yeah.
for two reasons. One, for me, like I was driving through, I forgot what part of town I was, but it was some new stuff they built, and there's graffiti all on the brick,
Mm.
and I love it
Yeah.
because it's a reminder that the system is broke.
Yeah.
And no matter how pretty you build it, there's some rebelliousness that's going to remind you that it's not.
I get it.
So I like that, and then I also like that to communicate that, to convey that, to live and die for that. A nigga will scale from a 40-foot building
Okay, I see. Okay.
on an overpass.
I get it. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
or like I'm myself, like, damn, like you really did that.
Yeah.
Ballsy.
So let me ask you, if you was younger, because I know when you get older, man, we like back. Because I used to be a nut on motorcycles. And
Yeah.
now, man, I won't even ride some shits no more, man.
Because you remember how much of a nut you was.
Man, I'm talking about, man. I used to ride Star Boys from Akron.
Mhm.
It was just too fast. Some niggas good, but like I was saying, if you was younger, do you think you would have got up there and tried that?
That's what me and BJ was talking about. Like, I don't really younger probably because
Like, just think of your older, like,
yeah, because when I was younger, like when I went to art school in Pittsburgh, and this is probably a story that a lot, because I've done this here in Atlanta, your abandoned warehouses and buildings, you in there painting.
yeah,
I painted at Pullman Yards before they developed it, right? You know, me and a couple of my partners used to go over there and paint.
Over yards.
This is over in off of Hosea Williams.
Oh, it's
I
in the
believe.
West End.
Not the what? Not Jose. Is that Hosea Williams? It's over on the east side.
Okay.
Over by close to Kirkwood in that
Okay.
area. But it's a new development over there now. It's like a brand new development. But it used to be an old like warehouse set.
Mhm.
And a lot of graffiti artists went over there to paint. So I went over there, Ollie, with one of my homeboys, LT Mo, who is from Cleveland and a producer as well. We went over there to paint. And maybe about 2 weeks later, a kid had died because he was stepping on the roof or something, and the roof collapsed.
Right.
He fell like 3-4 stories or something like that. Well, not 3-4 stories, but he fell and died. So, like, when we were young, we were going through these warehouses. I remember graffiti warehouse in Pittsburgh we used to go to, and you had to be conscious of where you were going because the steps was out.
Yeah.
You had to step and wiggle the step to make sure it wasn't going to give on you.
Yeah.
Those are the things as graffiti artists that define how far you went, how how much you got your name up and all that type of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But now, nah, bro, it's different.
Oh,
Like
yeah,
that's what me and BJ's like, I don't know about right now, like because they doing so many different things that people are doing to go big with it.
Mm. So, man, let me ask you this, man. Like, growing up in Cleveland, and what made you be like, I want to move to Atlanta?
Ooh, I was waiting for this part of the story. 92 to 94, I went to the Art Institute of Pittsburgh.
Uh-huh.
In that, while I'm there, Outkast comes out. Right in that time frame, I'm instantly like wowed by the music.
Right,
Not just the music, but the messaging. It was gospel. It was funk. It was soul.
Yeah.
It was hip hop. It was rap. It was everything to me in terms of the melting pot of what I listened to. Moved back home to Cleveland for 2 years and met a friend of mine, and we had started going back and forth to all these different music conferences. We came down to Jack the Rapper in July '95. That might have been the last Jack the Rapper, I believe.
I was there.
Yeah, I know you was there because I forced all my Cleveland niggas like, yo, Goody Mob come on at this time, and we there. And I made Goody Mob fans that day. But in that same trip, I met Rico Wade because he was on the panel at that Jack the Rapper. So I feel like I'm getting close to the opportunity to work with what has become my heroes that has influenced my work. So there ain't no email, so I'm FedExing and faxing to trying to get in.
Right.
That shit ain't really working out. So I was like, me and my partner, we felt like we needed to be in Atlanta to do the things that we was trying to do. We had a hip hop magazine called Planet Black, and I'm mad I did not bring the issue that we did a cover story on the Goody Mob, and I want to send that to you. But we did this magazine. So we felt like Atlanta was the place to do it. Cleveland. We was like, we wanted to have our hands on everything going on in Cleveland. This is around 95, 96. Well, we was doing that, but the lights was getting cut off at the office. We was coming into eviction notices, y'all gotta go. So it just wasn't working out.
Yeah, right.
We felt that we could do it in Atlanta. But for myself personally, it was organized noise.
Yeah.
That's why I felt like I wanted to be here. After I heard Outkast, and then in '95 it was Goody Mob. We played the Cell Therapy demo tape so much it snapped, and we couldn't get it again until the album came up. So I was a little pissed off in the office that the tape was snapped.
Yeah.
But I was so like, and I just said this at my artist talk: Organized Noise and the Dungeon Family, hearing Outkast and that music, it gave me purpose and intent. Because up to that point, I was just drawing. I was doing some hip hop cool shit. But when I heard Outkast and I heard Goody Mob on Outkast and I heard Cell Therapy, I realized that I had responsibility with the art. I had to do something and say something with it. Not only that, I wanted the art to look like the music I was listening to. And so that is what really
familiar slogan. That's what Dre says. That I wanna look like the music.
Yeah.
Look like.
Yeah, I wanted the art to look and move like the music, the colors, the movement in it. And so flash forward to '96, I was like, we were just like, yo, we gotta be in Atlanta for this to happen. And so we moved down here, and we moved down here with 3 months rent between both of us, or we was hiking it back to Cleveland. And that 3-month game plan turned into 20 years for me in Atlanta.
Wow, man, that's what's up.
So that's how I ended up. I felt like I had to be in Atlanta to work with Organized Noise. And because I was in Atlanta, I was able to walk through Greenbrier and run into Sleepy Brown. And that's how I got the introduction to the dungeon.
Man, you know, our story is so similar. Like, me and this dude stay on the next street behind each other.
Around the block.
But I seen Outkast at Geauga Lake.
Oh, Outkast was at Geauga Lake?
Grad night.
Wow.
My father was like, he was wanting to promote. He's like, hey, man, come check these guys from Atlanta out, man. You might like them.
Wow.
So I'm like, all right, man. I'm out there. I'm locked in with all the ladies and shit. So my dude, hey, man, y'all go ahead, man. I want to check these dudes out because I like music.
Yeah.
I'm like, and I was messing with turntables and scratching back then. And I'm like, man, let me see what these dudes like.
It's 95? What?
Nah, it's probably like 90.
Before?
Maybe
Later?
Nah, this is right before the album came out.
Oh, damn, okay.
Before the
So
Outkast.
they probably was working a single.
Yeah, it had to be 93,
Yeah.
94.
Yeah. So probably 93.
93.
Probably 93.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
probably 93. Because maybe 93 or 94. Whatever it was that summer.
Okay.
And then I seen them on video that fall. I'm like, wait a minute, that's the dudes at Geauga Lake.
Right.
Man, I was locked in. And so, like you, I'm up here studying them, seeing who is who, and I read credits like a mug.
What I tell you, Joe, when I came
I
in
read
here,
them credits. So I'm
That's
reading.
old. That's goddamn old school.
that's old
Yeah.
school shit.
You
You
want
showing
to
the
read
age.
everything.
I was reading credits. I wanted to know who was this person,
Where it
who
was
was
recorded.
this. Yep. Same way. And at that time, man, I was just like, damn, man, you know what? I like the DJ and shit, but I want to make some music. And so after Soul Food came out, man, I ended up buying a mixer with a sampler, man. I just started chopping up stuff. And for me, Organized Noise pretty much gave me that okay to be different.
That's right.
Like I tell people, and
Yeah.
people at home know, they used to always call me weird because I was really me hanging around like my uncle who like, y'all age, I was ahead of their time. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So it's like my peers didn't get it
Right.
until a couple years later.
Yeah.
I remember everybody hated ATLians. Man, how you understand this, man? You don't even know that.
I can
First they-
attest to that.
Like when they came out with Aquemini and that skit, that's how that was really going on back at home.
Oh man!
Wow.
They- First they
I
was
don't
some
know,
aliens,
man.
now they some
Yeah,
genies.
Yeah.
That was the vibe.
Yeah.
I thought that was your fault.
When I tell you, man, that's how it was. And man, I got Soul Food from Nicky's on Buckeye.
So bring it up, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
Nicky's. When I moved back home to Cleveland,
Hold on, let me tell him
Okay,
real
go
quick,
ahead.
just to catch him up.
Nicky's.
Nicky is that guy who I posted. He the one who posted y'all pictures when y'all was in
Okay.
Cleveland.
That's what we shot at.
Yep.
Was out there.
So Nicky,
Wow.
again, I know I said this before, but Nicky is where every artist had to come to. Every artist.
So what kind of spot was that?
It's a record store.
Record store. Okay.
It's a record store.
Yeah.
Like he
Wow.
did promo for y'all, and so I used to. Our family was a part of the Gorpay Mirror, the hair salon on Buckeye across the street.
Mirror.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I used to have to go over there, drop flyers off, get Nicky flyers. We used to they networked. When we used to have a Buckeye Festival, I was the kid going, and Nicky used to give me all the music. So Nicky was a part of that big help, other than me stealing records off of Coventry.
Right. So the interesting thing about this, so the owner, his name is actually Sanders. Nicky's is, I believe, is his daughter.
His daughter, yeah.
So
I always call him
Sanders-
Nicky, yeah.
So when I moved back home, the first mural that I painted in Cleveland was on Nicky's. And I brought Sano to paint it. We did Maya Angelou.
Oh, that was hard.
Yeah. And that's when I started to kind of but just you cannot come in Cleveland. Like if you was to you go into Nicky's,
Yeah.
Sanders had it laid out soon. It's like this wall here, but everybody, he got y'all from when y'all first came out to the last time y'all was there.
So Nicky's, so this was a record store.
Record store, yeah.
So Nicky's kind of, it seems like it kind of reminds me of George.
Yeah.
George had a record store.
Yeah.
So let me tell you. So George Daniels,
Yes.
Yep.
Sanders Henderson,
Okay.
Kermit Sanders, Kermit, this Dawes Robert creation in Cleveland.
Yeah,
all of them were part of. Damn, I'm mad that they had. You remember back in the day they had the music coalitions.
Yeah.
I forgot what
I think
theirs
I
was.
I think I know who Kermit is with. Is Kermit still around?
Kermit's still around. He
Light-skinned brother.
big light skinned
Yeah,
dude.
he deals with Nerve DJ.
Nerve
Yeah.
Now, Nerve DJs was started by our Cleveland OG,
Johnny O.
Johnny O.
Yeah.
Johnny O was the man.
Yeah.
right?
I used to be dubbing his mixes off the radio.
Johnny O.
Johnny O.
Kermit. Okay.
Johnny, but Kermit is who discovered Bone.
Mm-hmm.
And Bone was with Kermit before they got with Easy. And so that first album, the Faces of Death album that came out.
That's what I was trying to
Kermit.
tell. Yeah, I don't think they know about it.
Nah,
A lot of people don't
And
know about it.
I was trying to tell y'all, like, Bone had an album before that. It was called Faces of Death.
Well, you know what? Faces of Death was what they showed us in middle school to keep us from doing drugs.
Yeah,
I remember
There was
that.
a movie called Faces of Death. They brought everybody to the damn gym and made us look at this fucking film called Faces of Death.
It was gross too.
It was gross as hell.
I remember that.
It was gross. I'm
Like,
talking about that
I'm not
showed some
doing
kids
good.
that. But what I wanted to ask you is now I see a lot of murals around Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, well, damn, well, I sure would like to have a Goody Mob mural. So
Ooh.
just tell me what goes into, what are the steps for getting a mural?
Okay, I guess good, excellent question, because it's probably different in different cities, but how I move around in Cleveland is that, like, so Cleveland One is a big nonprofit arts funded city, so we get a lot of funding to do
Wow.
arts projects.
The whole city?
It's top 5 arts funded cities in the country.
Wow.
Yeah, so let's start there. So
Yeah.
we're generating a lot of money to get artists. There's a lot of systemic racism and politics in that, but the money is there.
Yeah.
What I would do is, because I also work with, so Crazy Bone has a foundation called Spread the Love Foundation, and I work with that foundation.
Oh,
they currently have a program called Income to Interest, where they're using Crazy wants to teach music.
Shout out to Crazy, man.
Shout out to Crazy
doing the most, man.
Sure.
Yeah.
Damn, be doing the most.
So I talked with the organization. We talked about, putting the Bone Thugs and Harmony mural in Cleveland.
It's
So
needed.
the process for us would be basically kind of like how they did the street sign. They basically got the street renamed 99, the Bone Thugs and Harmony way, where you're dealing with local city politics like city council,
Okay.
the city, and those are the main 2 tiers that you're dealing with. So for somebody like the Goody Mob, you would want to connect with whoever's in the city that handles the art. I don't know if Kwanzaa Hall is still in that position.
Kwanzaa Hall, I went to school with him.
But when I left Atlanta, he was head of the arts at the
Okay.
time. But then it's also local, like where does the mural go? Like
Yeah.
let's say if you want it downtown, let's say if you wanted it in Decatur, the city government is going to be different for those 2.
Okay.
So you really want to interact with city government. My idea would be to have everything in place first, have your location,
Gotcha.
have your design,
Gotcha.
have all of the elements in place, so that when you get with the city government and those processes,
Ready to go.
you're ready to go, and all you're looking for is a seal of approval. The business
Gotcha.
owner has co-signed it.
Gotcha.
You got your budget together, or at least a
Gotcha.
budget enough to say, hey, city, we need on top of this to make it happen.
So they need to find out basically who owns the building, right?
That's the easy part, because a lot of people
Yeah,
who
you
own
look that
property,
up. Yeah.
they're not opposed to public art on their buildings, especially if they don't have to pay for it.
Yeah, I know one. It was something down here by in Southwest Atlanta, down here by Greenbrier. Used to be a plaza where they had a theater and everything. Mr. V's and everything used to be in this one little plaza.
I know what you're talking about.
And I seen a picture of Goody Mob up there.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, damn. I was like, I want to shoot a video right here. So I go to try to shoot a video right there. People like, nah, you can't do it. I'm like, well, damn, don't I look like this nigga right here?
Yeah.
It's like, we don't care. You're going to have permission from the city to blase, do this and do that.
So
It's like, wow, that's kind of...
So let me speak to that. I think that was jacked up, the fact that you're the subject on
Right.
the wall.
Yeah.
However,
It's using your likeness.
right. So that would be your counter to that. But what I will say is this: there was a big lawsuit where an artist painted a mural. I think General Motors, they filmed a commercial in front of the mural, and it was it was prime, like 90% of the commercial is in front of this mural. So the artist sued, saying that you used my art, which I am the intellectual property owner of, as a integral component to sell your product, and you didn't pay me. So you're going to sell your car using my backdrop, and I'm not seeing residual from that. So the artist sued and the artist won that because of that. But in that situation, that's different, because you could do the suing. No one granted permission for that for that image to be used. But
some crazy shit. Like, you need to go down here and talk to these people, whatever. But my thing is to know what the procedure is and what the steps are if we wanted to get a mural done. You know,
I would definitely work with you in whatever capacity to share what I've done in Cleveland, because government is government, politics is politics. It may be different, but the foundation of it is the same. So I would definitely, because I believe that y'all deserve a mural down here. I definitely believe that.
Love to.
Yeah.
Definitely, yeah. Man, that's what's up, man. I'm just pure amazed. Like he really into it, man. You know what I'm saying? Some people say they do it, but he know the ins and outs of it. And you know, this one of the reasons why we got the podcast going is to educate people.
That's right.
And that right there is dope, man. That's hard.
And I wanted to ask him a question.
Mhm.
Bring them.
Now, your time at when you went to art school in Pittsburgh, you said you met a guy's name was Ben Smith. Was that his name?
Damn, where you pull that from, bro? This dude did his homework. Yeah.
See what I'm getting to is just like right now you got in music to where it wasn't the internet when we came out in the 90s. You feel what I'm saying? But now we in the 2000s, the 21st century now, and we had to adjust to streaming. We had to adjust to everything. But I seen how you was talking about how Ben kind of convinced you to do the Photoshop thing.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
Cujo.
Okay. So I just kind of like want to
Talk about that.
talk about that a little bit. Your transition from that to
Digital world.
yeah.
So I got to the Art Institute of Pittsburgh '92. I met Ben probably around between '92 and '93, and in our curriculum we didn't get to computer graphics until second year, which would have been '90, really like middle of '93 going into '94, something like that.
Right. So was the internet still?
There was no
internet? Okay.
None of that, bro.
Yeah.
Like
Wow.
if I tell you, like sidebar, like I had, you remember floppy disks?
You play
I
Oregon
would
Trail.
have to have. This is how we used to work. Let's just say if I did the Goody Mob cover, right? I would have to have that project on like 20 floppy disks.
Wow.
Load that into the computer to assemble it to be able to work on it, and then when I'm done, I would have to save it into 20 parts.
Wow.
It was crazy.
Wow.
But back then, I met Ben, and Ben, I think he went by Beat Almighty was his graffiti name. But he was like advanced. He had graduated from the Art Institute and he was into Photoshop. He was like, I really love your work. I really think you should learn Photoshop.
Yeah.
So he took me under his wing. I used to go hang out at his house. He taught me how to sneak into Carnegie Mellon and University of Pitt to use their computer labs. And
Photoshop ain't no joke.
it ain't no joke.
Especially if you don't know shit about it, man.
No, sir.
The 3D shit, the 2D shit.
All that.
Yeah.
And when we started, it was in its primitive state.
Yeah,
Wow.
bad.
But before a graffiti artist or a person who comes from the Black Book to be able to take your designs from that and then now have them in a digital world, oh man, that was everything. And so once I was introduced to the computer, but sidebar, that was not my introduction to the computer per se, because even before I got to school, Sano was doing graphic design and flyers. Everything that I do now, I learned from Sano before I went to school.
Doing that shit. Man,
He was chose. Like he would draw up these flyers, he would scan them in, and back then it was this program called PageMaker that allowed him to put the type fonts in on there.
That, yeah.
And we would so he would print out a master, and then we would go to Kinko's, two up on an 8.5 by 11, and run off
Shout out to
500.
Kinko's.
You know, shout out to Kinko's, because that was grassroots
the spot, right?
promo at the time.
Oh, yeah, everybody down there.
Everybody, yeah. But once I was introduced to the computer, and then that point, it was in its primitive state because the instructors really were coming from analog, paste up. They were just learning the computer themselves.
Yeah.
So when I came to class in around 93, 94, I was advanced. I already had Photoshop. I had all the programs. I knew what to do because this other guy had showed me the ropes. You know what I'm saying? And then at the time, a lot of the instructors were coming from the analog world into it was called desktop publishing.
No, I remember that.
You remember that?
Yeah.
And then that phased into just being graphic design.
Wow.
So, man, let me ask you this. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, for those who don't know, so I got an art background too.
Yeah, you told me you were sneaking out on the train line.
Yeah, but shit, man, I should be trying to make cartoons. I should be in church making stick figures in the Bible. I should get all the Bible.
Bro, you was drawing in the Bible, bro?
If you flip them, I either was drawing at a dude dunking.
Oh yeah.
Or I had a low rider doing hit switches.
Goddamn great.
It was an animal. Yeah, that's crazy.
I used to get so much trouble in church, man. But this is what I want to ask you, because like I said, with the art and you changing over, to different programs, I'm going to compare that with the DJing. So it's like with us, we used to the wax, right?
Right.
So when some people start coming over a little bit to the digital, did y'all have people like how we had other DJs like, nigga, that ain't real DJing, man. They didn't want to come up to the new technology at that time. Did y'all have people like kind of frown upon like people doing that?
But that's I won't say that my first experience with that vibe was the instructors. I won't say that they was hating on it, but you talking about they 20 years in their career pasting shit up.
Right.
They gotta teach this, and they wasn't really teaching it with that vigor because they felt like
this is not real art.
This is not it.
Yeah.
Flash forward to where we are now, like definitely. I myself had just I just did an art show, my first art show in life, like solo exhibit, where I really went back to the analog.
Yeah.
I went back to paintbrushes and stuff like that because what's happening.
That's analog to you.
That's
guys.
analog
Yeah,
to me.
Paintbrushes.
Yeah, because here's why. Right now, even in music, we're dealing with AI.
Yeah.
Right.
And what's going to be valuable in visual art to me is that which can be created by hand.
Yeah.
AI can't paint that Marvin Gaye I painted at the crib, at the gallery.
Yeah.
AI can't do that.
And that's
like
dope
that
too, man.
So there is, but see, here's the thing too. I'm a person that says you got to go with the tide if you want to sustain. So I have used AI as a concept development tool for some of the murals that I do.
Yeah.
I use AI earlier today to chat GPT to come up with to help come up with a promotional or marketing strategy for my art show over the next 3 weeks. I can ask these specifics and get a plan. But back then, to answer your question, it was analog. It's analog versus digital.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Analog
versus digital.
That's exactly what we was on with in the 90s with a set of playlists of Cadillac music. It wasn't digital. It was just straight
analog.
It was straight big ass,
the big reels,
reel to reels.
Yeah.
And you had to be, because to rewind that bitch and record over, man, that shit was motherfucker was like, so it's like you had to be on point with that.
That's
and
right.
like right now, back then we was used to writing lyrics on paper.
Yeah, right.
Now you got motherfuckers with the phones and everything. You know what I mean? But it's nothing like that handwritten shit, man. It's nothing like holding that shit in your hand.
That's God.
It's nothing like that, bro.
That's God right there.
Man, two things with that though, Joe. I don't recall. So, I used to be in the studio with Gerald Levert and all them when they used to be recording. And I remember Keith Sweat and all them coming in. I don't ever recall seeing that reel that I hear everybody talking about, but I can just imagine. I'm up here trying to get in my head as you saying it, and I hear Nori and them say it. So do people like, all right, if this is the reel, right? Let's just say it's going, and you need to add something or take something out. Do they like cut it?
You have
together?
To splice the reel.
Damn, they really cutting it?
And look, you have to be a mad scientist, bro.
Hell yeah!
So now you just go on the computer. You can go on your phone, man. You just cut, paste, delete. Back then, you had to pull that reel off.
See, I never
find the location of where you want to splice it, cut it.
True that.
Bruh. It was the same way in graphic design. Like, let's say the Goody Mob album cover. Instead of me submitting
survival kit. Now,
survival kit.
Hold
on, let me show y'all the artwork he did, man.
Yeah, we definitely get into the story behind this.
Yeah, now that I got it here, also got everybody's signature on here. I need the artist to sign it.
Oh, that's dope.
Oh, that's dope.
This is it, y'all.
Man, when I see this brother was sitting on this image for a while.
We're going to do the math.
For those who read credits, lyrics.
21 years.
What?
I did that in 98. So that's 21. That's 21 years.
Get you signed that too, man.
Wow.
Yeah. So I'm gonna sign it before I leave.
Okay, yeah.
The story behind it is 1995, I hear cell therapy. And I'm already in, that's what I'm on in terms of consciousness. I'm on that. So when I heard that, I'm like, these niggas went to
Right.
see
Right.
folks. Sega ain't in this new. I was like, what the fuck is this?
Man.
And then I just recently heard Rico say that the beat to that song was his version of I think it was "Come Clean" by J. Rue Damager.
J. Rue Damager.
J. Rue Damager.
I did not know that.
I ain't
Rico said that.
And when he interviewed,
I
but then when you hear the interview,
it's like, oh. So when I heard that song changed my life.
Yeah.
That took the organized noise shit to level 40.
That's what I'm saying. It made me be okay with being different.
So what happened with that was, here's the irony in this story. So I heard that in 95, I'm in Cleveland. I moved to Atlanta. 1998 is when I'm inspired to create the sketch.
Yeah.
So I draw it in 98. And I draw it, I show it to people. It was the piece that I showed to Chairman Fred Hampton Jr. when I met him, where he said that this is your purpose, is to use art to communicate certain things. Flash forward to 2020, Orlando McGee reaches out. For those that know, Orlando manages Organized Noise, and I had already developed a relationship with Orlando before he got into that position.
Yeah.
I've been knowing Orlando for a while. So he calls me and it's like, yo, we need a Goodie Mob logo. I'm like,
But
okay.
did you do something before that for Organized? For
I did
Dungeon
a
Family?
lot. So even, okay, let me go. Before we get to the Goodie Mob project,
Okay.
Yeah.
before we get to the Goodie Mob project, so I meet Sleepy Brown going through Greenbrier.
Right, bro. Okay.
I give him this business card. He said, come to the dungeon. So I come to the dungeon. That's my introduction. At the time, they were starting a new Society of Soul.
Yeah.
Big Hips was the song that they was working on.
Yeah.
And that was the very first project I worked on for Organized Noise. So the Big Hips, it was a chick with a fedora on and some big hips. It was an illustration that I did.
Okay.
So that was the first project that I did.
Okay.
And that was my introduction to who has become my big sis, Dee Dee Murray, who everybody knows, Peaches.
Yeah.
Man.
She helped facilitate.
Still never met Peaches yet.
Yeah. So that was how I got in. That was the first project. And then I just started hanging out at the dungeon. That turned into
Was this Lakewood
no,
or
this is new
Cascade?
Dungeon. Just Cascade Dungeon.
Okay, Adams Drive. Okay.
Yep, Adams Drive. And so
this 98.
this is around 98, 99.
Okay.
Yep.
Still Standing came out around about 99 World Party was out. Still Standing came out maybe like 98 or 97, something like
I
that.
thought of like 98. We was rocking it during my prime.
Yeah.
98.
Okay. Yeah.
So I just started, working on different stuff. I was coming to hang out at the dungeon, JR Crickets and Weed and Beats. Drum lines for 3 weeks before hearing Rico have a bass line for 3 weeks, 2 weeks until it was time.
Yep.
He got the other parts on it. So I was working on the Society of Soul project. And then that transitioned to Sleepy Brown. So Sleepy Brown's logo that's on his cigars and stuff I did that logo.
Oh,
Sleepy
okay.
Still, and we talking about work that I did. This over 20 years old worth of work.
Yeah.
The Dungeon Family logo. So I'm about to tell the official story how I told this at my artist talk on Sunday. This is how the Dungeon Family logo came about. I already had a relationship with the guys, right?
Yeah.
So I was working with a clothing manufacturer here, a black-owned company, Terry Manufacturing. I was designing T-shirts for their urban line. So for me, I'm a community builder. So I'm trying to figure out I'm working with Organized Noise. I want to do merch and all that.
Yeah.
So here's my opportunity to put it together. Mr. Terry, Bad Boy Weekend is this weekend. They used to have Bad Boy Weekend. They would come in and they have all these events. There was a Dungeon Family versus Bad Boy football game.
I used to hear about this story
And
too, man.
I'm like, Mr. Terry, I got to do this. I had about 36 hours because Mr. Terry, I needed 48 shirts. Mr. Terry print 50,000 shirts a day. So I'm trying to hold up production for 48 shirts, right, for the Dungeon Family. But he did it for me because that's the relationship. He understood how important it was.
He's still around?
Mr. Terry passed away a
Okay.
few years ago. So,
Right.
but shout out to Mike Terry if
Shout
his
out to
son
Mike
is
Terry.
still around.
Okay, good.
So he pulled it off. I didn't have time to really design anything. I just went with what I felt represented the Dungeon Family. We printed shirts. Now, when they came to the game, Bad Boy had jerseys for the Dungeon Family and Bad Boy.
Yeah.
The first stroke of honor was like, No, we wearing these shirts. Buddy brought because they say Dungeon Family on it.
Yeah,
It was the Dungeon Family logo.
Yeah. That's the one in green, right?
The one in green.
Okay.
I never designed that to be the Dungeon Family logo, though. I was trying to get the T-shirt done so they would wear the shit. What ended up happening somewhere not too far from that moment, the Dungeon Family album is happening. It's coming together. And I just remember, I don't remember the specific timeline, but I remember Rico coming to me and say, "Hey, send me an invoice for that logo so I can send it to Eric so I can get you paid." And I was like, "Well, that wasn't the logo." He's like, "That's it." Basically, I don't remember the interaction, but Rico made that the Dungeon Family logo. I had something else in mind. I just wanted to make sure that I took advantage of that opportunity. And guess what, Joe? I got pictures that I never told nobody the story, right? Because it would seem like fantasy the way it went down.
Right.
I recently found the pictures. I got Backbone. I got Moan. I got Sugar Bear. I got the Diddy dude in the pictures. I got Rico. I got them in the pictures. I took pictures of them wearing the for the first time wearing the Dungeon Family logo.
Oh man.
Yeah, so that's how the Dungeon Family logo was born, and that is how I really grew to really respect Rico Wade.
Yeah.
Because at this point, you know, when you're working in the music industry, I done got burned up. I done got burned up and abused. And Rico was like
he was one of them rare guys, man. He was one of them rare guys, man, that he had I think he had the vision that you treat people the way you want to be treated.
Yeah.
So that's the way he treated people, man. If you did something, it was definitely you was gonna get compensated, or you was gonna definitely get your flowers for it.
Yeah.
He was straight honest, man. Didn't give a damn if niggas sitting right here didn't like it.
Yeah.
He was gonna tell it how he told it. You know what I mean?
Man.
So that's exactly because I remember when we was getting ready to do Survival Kit. So I went to Atlanta. I was like, "Yo, man, we need some type of art for us." Oh, Mr. Soul.
Yeah.
And then when I seen that shit right there,
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh, we gotta have that, bro."
But Joe, I don't know if you remember.
Okay.
We had a whole album. I was 95% in on the cover. The skull.
Yeah, I forgot to say that you had a whole man.
And that shit was cold. And I ain't even released it yet. Right? I ain't really I teased it on, but I ain't put it out because I want to do something special with it.
We need to talk about that.
We do. We gotta do something with that.
Sure.
It was cold. Like I went in. It was cold. And in some kind of way, y'all saw the sketch. And when you saw the sketch, y'all was like, "Nah, this it." So I was like, "Oh, for real?" And it was just a full circle for me. I was like, "I don't care about what I just did."
Right. You like, I did this.
This is divine. That 21 years later, I actually got the Goody Mob to use this artwork for their album. Can't nobody tell me shit.
And then what the icing on the cake that he did for us, he animated that shit.
Yeah.
And that shit was so fucking cold, man. I mean, 2020. Even though the pandemic was going on, a lot of people's attention was elsewhere.
Oh, I seen it.
But that shit right there, man, that helped us. That helped us get over, because if it wasn't for this album right here, we'd have had a wider gap in our legacy. You know what I mean? So, man, shout out to 1 RPM. Shout out to my Orlando. Just for even ushering that thing, Organized Noise, because Organized Noise did that whole album.
And that's what, and let me say this. Let me say this on top of that, bro.
Props to you.
To do the album this is the Goody Mob album we was all waiting for.
Yep.
And the fact that I got to do the artwork, Organized Noise produces it top to bottom.
You got it.
And I was able, so that animation, shout out to Will Figgins Jr., because I was able to bring in other creative talent to help me, because this was my shot. And just like I do all the time, like the budget may not be there, but I want to make this shit look like $1 million. Right. This gonna look like the label put this out. If I'm designing it, it's gonna look like the label put it out.
Right.
And I can say this right here, right? Because we didn't do CDs and cassettes. I have an album, that's a vinyl, an album cover that I designed for the Goody Mob.
That shit came back to you.
Yeah, man, it came back. So
I think it had been maybe 7 years or something before we even had done another album.
Yeah.
And this came out right here. And matter of fact, this is our first independent album.
Mm-hmm.
Organized Noise and Goody Mob. Independent album.
Yeah.
So shout out to Sleepy. Shout out to Ray Murray. R.I.P. Rico Wade.
Yes, sir.
Man, because we came together and put this shit together, man.
And when I seen, I'm at home DJing on the internet during the pandemic.
Uh-huh.
And when somehow, man, that came across my feed, I said, nah, get the fuck out. I said, wait a minute. And I was already hearing little stuff, and I'm like, nah. And seeing is believing with me.
Yeah.
Man, I scrolled the title, read them credits. I said, oh, I got to get the vinyl for this. Somehow, some way, I don't want the CD. I want the vinyl. I mean, I would have took the CD, but I needed that vinyl. And when I'm just reading it, I'm like, this is a real Goody Mob album. I ain't even heard it yet. I'm just looking at it.
Yeah.
I didn't even listen to one song. I'm just reading it like hell yeah. Organized Dungeon Family, nigga, they in this bitch.
Well,
You got Dre and Big on that bitch.
But here's the other thing that is still special to me even more is that home team, Mr. Soul, did this from Cleveland.
From Cleveland. And that's the irony in it is that I lived in Atlanta. I was telling somebody this. I was telling a young artist that I mentor here. And I was telling them about, because I have the originals. I need you to come to the gallery. I have the original sketch in my show. And I was telling them the story of this. And I was saying that manifestation doesn't have a timeline.
True,
Man,
you know what I'm saying?
That shit,
and
bro.
I've always manifested that. I manifested working with Organized Noise.
Me too.
I manifested working with the Goody Mob.
Yeah.
I manifested these things. So it took 21 years, but I never let it go. And what I did is I planted seeds. I built the right relationships that Orlando would give me that call.
Mm.
You know, and then I had already done work around it. Y'all didn't even know it was me, right?
Yeah.
Because I didn't know who was behind that the Dungeon Family logo. I didn't know that. You know what I mean?
And the honor that I received at Rico's funeral. So we get to after the church where to the place where they put him in the
okay, you're talking about the graveyard?
The graveyard thing. And so we got there early, so it was Ray. I came down with my brother Jay Cool, who is a guy who's also instrumental in Cleveland to Dungeon Family history, in that he was around during the recording of the first Outkast album. So we drove down here. He knows Ray.
Yeah.
End up seeing Ray. Now when I met Malia and Enum and them, they were like kids when I was coming around.
Those
Ray Murray's kids. So I'm talking, and Enum is there, and me and Jay Cool was like, yeah, we came down from Cleveland. Instantly, Enum was like, Cleveland. I heard that the person who did the Dungeon Family logo was from Cleveland. That shit blew my mind. Yeah. I was like, wow, I'm him.
Yeah, right.
I was like, but then when I look at the pictures, when I look at the reunion y'all just had at the house, and I see, it's like, it makes sense why he knew that. My relationship with Ray, my relationship with Dee Dee, and the fact that the children of the Dungeon Family are together.
Yeah,
that was a beautiful acknowledgement for the child to know that the person from Cleveland designed that. And I was like, bro, we got to snap that up so I can tell that story.
Hell yeah.
Dope.
God, dog, man.
Yeah, but my entire existence in Atlanta, bro, it was coming here was Outkast, Goody Mob, Organized Noise, Dungeon Family. Anything else? Now, by way of that, I ended up working with Pimp C and UGK. Well, mostly Pimp C. My relationship was with Pimp C. So Pimp C's Pimpalation album, I did that.
Oh, wow.
The Pimpalation DVD, I did that.
So that artwork that's
me. Yeah, that's me.
Damn. So how'd you get connected with Pimp C?
So this is all around the same time, 98, 99. When I first moved to Atlanta, I did volunteer work for an organization called the Youth Task Force. You might know Oli Mata Tall. She used to.
Yes.
You know Oli?
Sister?
Yeah, sister.
Yes, I know her.
Yeah, Oli. So I met Oli before I moved to Atlanta. When I moved to Atlanta, I started working with them. So I was being rewarded for my volunteer work. Dr. Khalid Muhammad was there that day. And Hashim Nzinga was a guy who was at the time doing road management for Pimp C. This is December 98, I remember. he asked me, "You ever heard of a rap group, UGK?" I was like,
man,
"Hell yeah!" He
right.
was like, "I'm gonna hook you up with them." I'm like, "Yeah, all right, whatever."
Yeah.
You know, like I'm like, I done heard it all.
Yeah, right.
I'm 3 years in, 3 years in LA. I'm like, yeah, whatever.
So you know.
He called me, and next thing I know, I'm at Pimp C's crib. The very first project that I do for them is a business card because now it's UGK Inc. This is just before the Dirty Money album.
Yeah.
So they recording, it's developing, and my relationship is developing. I done been over to the house a couple of times.
Yeah.
Flash forward to when Julia Beverly did the Pimp C book. Right, I did the cover for that. That's me.
Oh, wow, I seen
so
that.
Shout out to Julia Beverly for giving me that opportunity. But inside the Pimp C book is this tattoo that's on my arm. I drew this. I sent this to Pimp in jail. And I also in the book is the letter that Pimp wrote me because like I wrote him when he was locked up.
Yeah,
So that was the relationship, but it wasn't like I was over there kicking it all the time. Pimp really respected to the point when he got out. The first place that I saw Pimp when he got out and he came back home was at Patchwork. He was at Patchwork, and on God, everything is God's my witness. Pimp was like, did they take care of you? Talking about the label because I did that project to rap a lot. And I was like, everything was cool. I was like, I had to call Mama one time for something. She got it straight.
Hey,
Mama C didn't play. And I know that I was someone that she respected because before Pimp got out, I got a phone call and my partner was in the car with me. We was at Dave and Buster's about to go to happy hour. And I talked to Mama for like 30 minutes and she was like, Pimp is about to come home. And he told her to assemble all the people that was around him before he went in. So I met Pimp C through Hashim, who was doing road management for them at the time. And that's how I ended up getting the project. I started working on the project and everything. So, I've touched a lot of stuff people don't really know. I say that my career is a 3-6 Mafia album, the most known unknown. Right? Because when you see the work, you know the work, but you may not know me or the person who did it. But
that's it. It's
a lot in order. And
that's awesome.
Coming from Cleveland to Atlanta to have been able to play a role in such valuable Atlanta history. Man, that's shit. I feel like I did it.
Hey man, y'all gotta manifest.
Gotta manifest.
It work. It's real. It's real.
It don't happen overnight. It don't happen next week.
No, man. Stick to your damn guns,
bro.
Yes, stick to your guns. If there's some shit that you feel passionate about, it could be man. It ain't even got to be entertainment. It could just be your passion for something, man.
Man, if you like to sew socks,
man,
bro, if you're passionate about it, you're gonna be a millionaire at it. Because that's what it takes. It's the law of attraction. Is identifying what it is that you want and not coming off of it until you start seeing the signs of it coming. And that's what happened with me. I feel coming to Atlanta. I felt so strongly that I was gonna work with y'all that it manifested in so many different capacities.
Man, listen, by us being that age gap, I manifested that in 97.
Okay.
I'm out doing my thing in the streets or whatever. People knew me from this. A lot of people knew me for that. But the people who really knew me, that was older, they knew I could DJ.
Yeah.
They knew they heard my worst shit. And they like, no, don't give up. But everybody else telling me the shit hard. I even found one to taste. I'm like, man, that shit is terrible. But man,
I got some of that.
But the dude at the record store, I cannot remember buddy's name, man. I gotta find him. I hope he's still around.
In Cleveland?
Yeah, you remember the record store where House of Blues is at? They tore it down.
You talking about Downtown Records?
Yeah.
I don't remember who
the light skinned dude.
Yeah.
With the gray hair.
Yeah, I don't remember
the glasses.
Yeah.
He was the one. He used to, he's the one medication, so I give it to him. But he should be like, look, come down here. Got these albums, blah, blah, blah. So he like, hey man, look, man, you need to stop doing what you're doing and focus on this music, man. Your uncle, he gone. But man, he was teaching you this. And I'm like, who the fuck told him that?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But I'm just like, somebody know him because it's true.
Yeah.
And so, man, next thing you know, I'm like, nigga, do you want it or not? Yeah. So he got the little dime or whatever. So he like, look, man, I tell you what, Outkast coming up here. So I done seen him 3 times at the record store. for whatever reason, I connected with Dre though. Seen him, went to the concert. But anyway, long story short, man, he like, look, let me tell you something, man. If you stop, they DJs from Cleveland.
Wow.
You could probably DJ for Goody Mob.
Shout out to Swift C.
Man, I went.
Didn't even know that.
Time out.
Yeah.
DJ Swift is from
Cleveland. I knew this back then.
I thought he was from Atlanta.
I knew this back then. That gave me motivation.
Wow.
Bruh, this gave me motivation, right? I'm like, you know what?
Damn, Cleveland in this bitch.
Yeah.
I have to say that.
Man, listen. Man, I don't know if you noticed, I be making these shirts that say Cleveland X ATL on that bitch, man.
The hashtag we use Clevelanta.
Yeah.
Clevelanta.
Yeah.
Let's run that. Because we got Cleveland had, let me say this. When our Bone Crusher reached out to me about doing a project.
Yeah.
We got to talking. And he realized that I wasn't from Atlanta.
Yeah.
He was like, where you from? I'm like, I'm from Cleveland.
Yeah.
He was like, get the fuck out of here. He was like, I could have swore you was from Atlanta.
Yeah.
By the people you were around. And he was like, well, Cleveland, because I guess he had met some other Cleveland people. I was like, no, Cleveland we come correct.
Yeah.
We the coolest niggas. We gonna respect the land, is what I came here doing. But we can be some other stuff too.
Yeah.
But I felt like I was able to integrate into Atlanta because all of our relatives are from the South.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So it's like, but Cleveland has made an impact down here.
But man, when I tell you, when he told me that, it's like going into my last year of high school, 97. I'm like, you know what, man? Fuck this shit. I'm going to Atlanta as soon as I get out of here, and I'm going to find these niggas. I see the addresses on the tapes and shit. And then I was thrown off. I was kind of thrown off because some of the shit wasn't Atlanta. It was the record labels and shit. I'm like, nah, nigga, them niggas is Atlanta.
Here.
I'm like, them niggas is Atlanta.
Yeah.
And man, I started making music, having my homeboy rap, and we was almost like a little dungeon family. You know what I'm saying? And man, 98 came. I got the picture when I told everybody I'm leaving. I got this all my Atlanta shit. I was already fucking with Atlanta shit anyway because of the Braves, Dave Justice, and shit like that.
But you was official at this point.
I was like, fuck that. I'm getting down there. But here's the thing. So my mom died some years ago, right? She says I was going through like this depression shit. And she like, hey, you need to get back in there DJing. You need to move to Atlanta. Don't you want to still DJ for Goody Mob?
Wow.
And I was like, damn, Ma, you remember that? She's like, yeah, boy, you had your shit ready to go and everything. Wow. If you had your daughter, you'd have been gone. And so she kept telling me to move here. And so, man, the night she passed, that's the night she was moving to Atlanta. Everything just kept tying to Atlanta. I came down here to Rick Ross' first car show. His cousin met me, a female. She's like, something about you need to move down here. 4 other people said it, and they told my wife without me being down here. My wife was down here for a wedding. They was telling my wife, and she like, why does people keep telling me you need to move to Cleveland? I said, I don't know, I ain't talked to nobody. Now, the night before, I'm out here with Freeway, Beanie Siegel, PD Crack, and Bleak. We in Columbus kicking it.
Yeah.
And man, I fly down here. The dude car I get from Toro, he like, hey man, you ever think about moving to Atlanta?
Wow.
I said, what the fuck? So me and my wife went to Aruba. We sat on the beach. I was like, you know what? I gotta go. It's pointed for me to move down. And one of the first people I seen was Joe. Never seen them a day in my life. I kicked it with Dre at the Millennial.
Okay.
Like it's a whole story. We had him and Slim Calhoun. We had a fucking great night. And I told Slim Calhoun, the night I seen you is when I seen
it was at Atlanta Tucket, right? That's why I said
no. I seen you first at Stankonia. You don't remember? I got a picture with us though. Damn. In Stankonia. But Ali came to me like, you ain't from here, is you? I said, nah. He said, man, I'm Ali. I said, man, I know you is. He said, man, come with me, man. He said, so when you get out? I said, man, I just moved out here last week. He said, let me take you meet some folks. That's when I met Gip first. And then I meet Ali. Then here comes Slim Calhoun. I'm like, oh shit, man, last time I seen you, I had the long braid. We kicked it. And then I was like, all right, man, I'm about to get up out of here because Gip, that Zaga was kicking in. And matter of fact, hey.
Shout out to Big Gip, man.
Shout out to Big Gip. Yeah. Hey, man, if y'all got any pain or sore, y'all need to go and get this No More Pain gel. Yeah. Gip Goody. Hey, reach out to him. But as I'm leaving out, I was telling a story about what Dre was talking about Joe. And then here comes Joe. And that was it. But
I met Dre was talking to He was saying,
I was telling somebody. Oh yeah, Dre was telling the story. You had just got in an accident on stage, and I guess he just found out. And he told us to all pray for you.
So that was like
2001 or something. Two, yeah, something like that. Staying on tour.
Yeah.
So I gotta say something. I totally forgot this, bro. I really totally forgot this, and I gotta find this damn book and give it to you, Joe. When you had your accident, it just like I'm getting old, so I'll be forgetting.
We got 5 hard minutes.
All right. When you had your accident, I drew this angel and I put this sticker on the book, and I had a lot of people sign this book for you.
Dang.
I got Stick from Dead Prayers. I got a lot of people who signed like a get well. That's how this angel that's on my arm that I sent to Pimp C. That's how this was created. I got to go home and find that book. It wasn't full. It was like a 5.5 by 8.5, and I might have had like 40 pages.
I love it.
I'm gonna find that for you. It just dawned on me looking at it, and he mentioned the accident.
Man,
but yeah, this is divine right here.
But look, man, we really need a part 2, Mr. Soul. Man,
I'm back down here at the end of the month.
I ain't even get to ask him top 5 albums and all that.
We're gonna get him.
But yeah, we definitely got to run this back, man. And listen, man, I just want to say thank you to Mr. Soul.
Thank y'all.
Hey, bro, I've been watching you. People already kept telling me, hey, you need to get with Mr. Soul. I'm like, who's that? Then my homeboy like, man, y'all both from over in this area? I said, man, I ain't seen him. And then run into him on the internet because I'm looking at the art. I like art. I follow this dude. I'm like, he hard. But anyway, man, we got to get up out of here. We going to run this back with Mr. Soul.
Yes, sir.
Man.
Y'all look for part 2. We got a lot more to talk about.
Hey, Mr. Soul, let them know where they can find you at.
Y'all can find me on social media at MISTERSOUL216. And then you can also catch me at Inspire Your City on Instagram and all points to Mr. Soul.
Joe, let them know they can find you at.
You already know, shout out, hit me up, man. KHUJOGOODIE. Just Google that shit.
That's right.
Google that thing. If you don't feel like it, holler at me on the IG. Subscribe to my YouTube page, man. It's going down. Turn this out.
Yo, and y'all can find me at 216 DJ PAPI everywhere. .com, Instagram, Facebook. I'm out here. We out. Peace.
Peace, y'all.
Orders in the attic. Dungeon family first generation, can't you tell?